Is everybody ready? Thank you, Daryl and Tim, for attending.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Daryl, Tim may be leaving. He got his question answered.
I'd leave.
All right, let's go. Is John coming back?
Here we go. Hey, where'd you get that water? Did you give it to your girl?
I had connections. I asked for water, and she went and got it. But I just
I'll
meant
wait
like
till
a
it
styrofoam cup filled with.
And I hereby call this recess meeting to order. City Clerk.
Councilmember Finley,
Here.
Councilmember Lisi,
Here.
Councilmember Cumberland,
Here.
Councilmember Clark,
Here.
Councilmember Moore,
Here.
Mayor Gibbons.
Here. Could I get a motion to confirm the agenda?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Finley. Could I get a second? Second made by Councilman Clark. All in favor? Aye. And now I'm going to turn over to the city manager for the FY24 budget workshop.
There you go.
All right, not a lot has changed from the last budget workshop. The one big thing is we did adjust for a 3% pay raise for all employees. Yay. As you can tell, that reduces our estimated fund balance at the end of next year down to $148,000, right at $150,000. Nothing, no other adjustments were made within the project as of right now, as that was the only thing I believe the council referenced looking for as far as a change goes. So I'm going to kind of throw it back at you guys if you have any other questions or if you want to discuss anything else as far as this project or as far as the budget goes, what you would like to see or what you have questions about now that you've had some time to review and look over everything from the last meeting.
So the one that you emailed me has changed on this with just adding on.
That's correct. The one I emailed you did not include the salary pay raise. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's around $47,000 increase when you count in benefits and everything, making that adjustment. So you could say right at $50,000 is what the additional cost for that 3% increase for all employees.
And everything else stayed the same?
As of right now, yes, ma'am. Everything else stays the same. We look back over revenues and looking at estimates for next year. Nothing really is jumping out saying that that anything new's happening or anything new would make for either more or less revenue than what we've already currently predicted. So that kind of is staying the same. You can see your total expenditures, the minor increase that we have because of the salary. Like I said, that increases the benefit side, Social Security, Medicare, those things. And the rest stay, kind of like I said, stays the same. And haven't heard anything new from you guys. Nobody emailed me or asked me anything else. Like I said, most of this changing the few things we changed were reducing court by one, removing janitorial services as a outsourced, and instead hiring somebody internally to do that work, as well as increasing code enforcement from a half-time position to a full-time position. The current code enforcement, we're having a little trouble. They just haven't come back to work here. They're, I guess, summertime vacations that they're taking, so we got to get them back on the job at least to start working on some of this, and if not, look at hiring that full-time position that hopefully can start on those projects and get working on enforcing the codes that we have out here in the city.
Have we advertised for that full-time position, or is that's something
That would be something that we would do, come October 1, once the new budget goes into effect, that we would. So it'll be a little lag time there. Well, actually, I shouldn't say October 1. If we approve the budget in September, we could probably go ahead and advertise then. And if somebody's available, that would be able to start that soon, we'll try to get them on October 1. But we'll do our best to get somebody there as soon as possible.
And the biggest thing for me was making sure that there was a little increase in salary, and so
Right.
we appreciate y'all about doing that. And this is kind of like looking into the future a little bit, but just it's in my head now, I need
Sure.
to ask it. There's a little bit of talk of like taking taxes off foods, like groceries and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yes.
How is that gonna affect the city, when, like, say, all the money coming from the local grocery store, you're not getting those taxes?
I can tell you for the city of Diamond Head, that would be a lot, simply because Rouse's, being probably one of our biggest, tax generators around here. But the information I keep getting from, the state politicians, both, Jay McKnight and Senator Moran, is that and they will not do that, or at least they don't plan on doing that, unless they can make the city whole, or the cities as throughout the entire state. So if they reduce taxes on groceries to 4% or whatever, they would they feel like they've got to provide some way to make up for that, whatever that loss in revenue would be for every city. Diamond Head, we do have other businesses, but you do have to think about some of the smaller cities that may be the only thing they have is a grocery store. And if they lose, that much sales tax, the city practically would probably go broke in a lot of situations in the state of Mississippi. So I think that's the overall consensus of the Republican group in the state, is that they don't want to do that unless they can figure out a way to make the cities whole and not cut that tax until they know they can provide it some other way to each city. So, which is a good thing, but I agree it would be a nice thing to help residents that if they could pay less sales tax on their food, be beneficial to them.
Yeah, we're worried about the city having to go up on the taxes to
Right.
take care of all that, so I'm glad y'all
Right.
have that information for me.
The Mississippi Municipal League is working extremely hard on that topic. They've got a lobbyist full-time just working specifically on that. Because smaller cities, we have rooftops, and that's where most of our income comes from. Our revenue is coming from the rooftops. But some cities, their sales tax is what they run their cities on. And having that depleted, because it may be from the one grocery store they have, would impact a great deal of cities in the state of Mississippi, doing away with that. So they're working on that as well with the legislators. I had a few questions.
Sure.
Is there any other questions to the board? No? Okay. So looking at the revenue, the property taxes, we've seen really since 2013, there've been about 2.3 million. It went up a little bit to 2.4 on the real property taxes. 2023, we were 2.3. So we have estimated here, you added 29,000, 29.5.
Correct.
And we're feeling that is going to be good which brings us to 2,384.
Yes, we feel that way more because of looking at the current revenue that we received. We've received almost 2.35 already this year, and we still have 3 more months to go in the fiscal year. But just the increase in housing and the increase in the houses in Diamond Head, the new builds, have just kind of give us that feeling that we'll see that much additional ad valorem taxes to come in.
I also asked the tax office to run a preliminary,
Mhm.
and that was a soft run, and he said we're probably gonna, that was our number.
May exceed that even.
Yeah, well, he just said, we feel like this is where you're gonna be.
Okay,
But
okay.
he said it's, they'll usually get us that right, like around August 1st.
Mhm.
But, so it's kind of early on, but
So the sales tax revenue, we see you put an increase of $40,000, and we know the cost of goods have risen considerably. We see that with projects we bid. If we would have bid them a year and a half ago, they would have been considerably less than they are now. So we increased 40,000. We have gotten a few new businesses in. We hope to get more. We feel comfortable with 40,000.
Jeannie doesn't, but I did. She fought me on that one. I said
A little more conservative.
but I feel the same way as with just what you said. We've had a few new businesses come in. Sales taxes are, like you said, products increased in price, so the sales tax increases with that. So I feel like, the additional 40,000 is probably not unheard of for us for next year.
Because we see it's been on a steady climb.
Correct.
And, it's been on a steady climb all the way up. 2013, we're at 464,000, which was extremely soft, very soft. This year, you've already collected as of, and I believe this was the end of May, 661,000. So June came in higher.
June came in at 82, so it's dropped 10,000 from what we received last year.
Yes, it did. Okay.
So it's kind of, it's, that's what's.
That's a difficult one because it's
there's no
been,
age in it.
That's it.
since 2020, it's been averaging, and I think that's because of, COVID, it's averaged to a point, and then the price, okay, I was just making sure we felt good about 40. Okay, on expenses, I had a few questions about that.
Certainly.
Okay, looking at the court, so we got to deduct a difference, and this is 39,994, and I believe part of that was an employee,
Correct.
the one that had left. I know the court department, I've sat in here on court day, and they roll out a massive amount of files. It is a massive amount of work. It is a great deal of work. How are we going to make it work with one person when they were having a difficult time with two full-time?
Well, I don't know that I couldn't agree with you on that, but she's been doing great by herself and has not had any trouble. She's been able to manage and maintain court every week or every Friday when they have it without any issues whatsoever, as well as keeping up with what's going on. Andrea, our finance clerk, has also been helping out in there as needed to help do some of the more clerical work of filing things away and getting paperwork together so that she can focus on the other portions of her job. So, she's been doing it without much hiccup so far. But that will definitely be something that we'll continue to watch, and if the issue arises, we'll have to come back to it.
Have we spoken to her about it to ask her thoughts on it?
You met with
No,
her?
I
Oh,
did
okay.
not.
I've talked with
You
her.
met with each court.
You spoke with her about it?
Yeah, I've talked with her, and I mean, right now we're seeing the number of tickets, it has been reduced. The police are doing a great job of policing the city. We are a very safe city, but thankfully, the numbers are down, and hopefully we continue to do that. So she's been able to keep up right now. Is it sustainable if we see a big uptick in tickets or in cases? Or, one of the things that we've had in the past, we had that duplication of effort, in case of for days that she's not there, we've got a plan helping out, for when she's not there now. Really, I'd just say right now, it's one day a month where it's difficult. That's on trial days. And I even bring in the other prosecutor, Melissa, on trial days, but we kind of inundate her with a little bit of paperwork on trial days. Every other day, she's managing, she's able to handle it. But so for now, I'd say we're there, we're in a good spot, but it is, as John said, it's something we need to keep an eye on because we do need to have someone, if something were to happen to Lisa or, she were to retire or whatever, we would need somebody, to have. So, but it is, but right now, court is functioning.
Okay, so we're going to continue to monitor that, because that is,
And Jeannie did meet with her to discuss and what she needed and what things she might have needed, and she didn't reference anything about needing an additional person there. Now, she might not have thought she needed to, but she did.
She may have
say-
not have thought, she
but-
assumed it was
but,
advertised, maybe.
Yeah, both Tammy and Andrea both have offered any help and when needed, and she's, in most cases, said she didn't need any, and she was fine, so she's been able to do it without.
Yeah, Lisa does a great job, and
She
I mean,
does.
she's got a ton of experience, so we're blessed to have her. Hopefully, we'll have her for a long time, but, you know,
And-
you always have to be ready.
You do, we want to have her for a long time, that's why we don't want to work her to death, and then she's not happy and she wants to leave. Because I know her and Lauren were like really, they worked very well together, but they were working nonstop too, and they're full-time, so. Can we reach out and talk to her about it, specifically about that? Okay. And then moving on to the admin, the administrative salary is down 4,912. But now you added in the 47, is that where that is?
That is probably just the reduction. The difference right now is $3,069. I
Is
know
how
the-
much?
$3,069. Right, and the last one, we had a comptroller, and that's why the budget went down by 42,600, and so the increase of 3,000 is just, should be just salary. The 3% salary increase.
And then the deduct on Jana King removal, $7,050. Where is the increase for the person we're hiring to?
That is in Public Works right now. We just haven't got together on a salary scale and determining what we would pay an individual. So it's just one of the additional positions that Public Works has right now.
It's already budgeted?
It's budgeted in Public Works, yes.
Oh, I see, you got a line right there, okay.
And the idea is that the person would not be needed as janitorial, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week. So they will work with Public Works also to do something. Not 100% certain yet. It possibly will be, a litter control and go around and make sure all the litter's picked up around the city, which is becoming a bigger and bigger problem, it seems like, at least every weekend for sure. But they'll also clean all the mobile restrooms that we have, that we'll get down at Noma Drive and then at the ball field once that lease is all taken care of.
Okay, then I see we got a deduct of $950 for the Christmas event, National Night Out, Rotary, Chili, Security, Senior Fair, Trunk or Treat, CASA, and the Deep Sea Fishing Radio. What do we eliminate there?
What?
The sheriff's camp, because they haven't been doing that.
Oh, the sheriff's camp, which was 500, and I want to say the other one was moved to promotions instead of administration. I don't have last year's budget to be able to tell you exactly. Do you have it with you? I'll get back with you on that, let you know
Okay,
exactly what
that's
that number,
fine.
where that number comes from.
And then we move on to elections, and we took out 7,500, leaving 7,500. Is that enough money for a special election?
Based on what we spent, I'm gonna say yeah, for a special election, for one ward. But if it were to cross all wards, no. So one ward.
We just specifically need to know there is money for one ward for
For a
a special
one-ward
election. Okay.
And that's what we're hopeful to have.
7,500.
Only one, but one.
Yes, okay, all right, because
Right.
I see half of that gone.
And I believe the 1,500, that was an expectation of 3 special elections, but we've learned that 5,000 is just not enough, period.
No, it's not.
It just, the expense on that just keeps going up.
Okay, the Diamond Head Library, Red Cross, Police Camp,
No, there's
this
the
is where the
camp down
police
there.
camp was. Magdalen House, SPCA, PRCC, Hancock Resource Center, we're down 2,500. Red Cross CASA, Diamond Head Library, Hancock County Resource Center, Police Camp, Hancock Tourism, Magdalen House, SPCA, and PRCC.
Yes, ma'am. I believe that is Natalie Guess in her portion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was
It
for,
was for, what was that thing I guess was doing?
the newsletter, I believe.
Oh, okay. So we
That
quit
our-
putting that in the news, okay,
Right, that promotion.
and the Diamond Head News.
Advertisement, I guess you'd say.
So the library requested an additional, and I don't remember,
They wanted,
Well, it's
I got
40.
it. They wanted 71,000 for next year, and they wanted
Didn't they want 40 for this coming year?
35 more for this year immediately, and then they wanted to increase it to 71,000 next year.
so how much is in the budget for next year?
The same 30,000.
Same 30 as 30 before,
Correct.
okay.
Can I ask a question on that, while we're on that line? So PRCC, is that the CTAP money that we give them
The
toward the?
scholarship money, yeah.
That's correct.
Okay, and is that enough? I don't know how much you appropriated in that total. Is that
Right.
enough to cover what they think they need? Because that's so important.
Yes, what
That's
they
what they
asked
asked
for. I
for?
want to say it's
Okay.
$5,000.
Okay. It's a great program.
So the SPCA, we budget $850 a month.
Right, that is the one I've emailed, and I'm just trying to get a response back. There may not be an SPCA in Diamond Head anymore.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I know Miss Gray had stated to me that she was giving it up, and that she didn't think anybody was going to pick it up and continue. So if not, that actually would get reduced out of there.
Okay.
John, how much is the resource agency getting? The Hancock Resource Center?
Yeah, I think it's 1,000 for each, the tourism,
Red
the
Cross
resource
is
center,
500.
and the human resources. And the Red Cross is 500,
And Magdalen House was 1,000.
probably so, yes.
Well, if the SPCA goes away, I think that's something we should talk about increasing if possible.
Certainly.
If the SPCA goes away, we probably need to reach out to Friends of the Animal Shelter because we have got a menagerie of cats that need to be addressed, and that's the issue we've got. They've got to be coupons for the spayed and neutered, and we were hoping that's what this $850 a month was doing for the vouchers to pay for people to bring their cats to the veterinarian. You know, and if we see that's not happening, we need to reach out and get an agency in here to help us seriously because we're going to be, well, you know as well as I do. what
Yeah, we
got.
had a contract with them for them to provide services, and the reason why we were able to
Mm-hmm.
do it, it's not a donation. They actually provide a service per
Yes.
contract,
Okay,
and
good.
it's a service that the city, you know, in many instances, the cities provide. We just had a contract with them, so the mayor makes a good point, is we've got to find either someone
Replacement.
else or some way to pick up that slack, because
Oh, I agree.
we're seeing a lot of, you know, and it's great in the city of Diamond Head that one of our biggest problems is just animal control. We're not dealing with, you know, major things, thanks to our new chief and others. They do a great job, but it is that, you know, that is one of our recurring problems.
Sure.
And so we're going to be missing out with the SPCA if they're not providing that service.
Okay.
It's a very heavy hit on the city of Diamond Head if that service missing. Very, very serious. So the sooner we work on this, we get with them and see if they are still doing it, you know, usually, John, we get a budget report from the SPCA on all the funding and where we have not
We
received.
haven't received.
Haven't received that just yet.
Okay, this
They
is,
usually give it to Tammy.
mm-hmm. Can we reach out to Friends of the Animal Shelter and see if we could partner up, whatever we need to do to fill the void?
Will do.
Thank you. Moving down to, under admin, professional services, we've got a deduct of $112,166.35. What are we deducting there? That is a large amount. I'm assuming it's engineering. We've got over,
That was, we had the 75,000 for a lion plan and for,
Code rewrite.
code rewrite. So that's being done this year. So that's gonna, we're not rebudgeting for that next year.
but we added, okay, so that's the 75,000 there. Okay. So we have over 4 million in engineering contracts. All of that money is being paid from a source right now?
That's correct. From the different grants.
And so we have budgeted $449,972.40
Yeah, out of general fund.
out of the general fund.
Everything
And
else is in its, own specific grant fund.
so what are we paying for? Do we see what that's gonna be utilized for, or that's just what you allocate it if we need it?
Well, you're talking about professional services, you're talking 35,000 is the auditor, for
Mhm.
our audit. We do have $5,000 for engineering, just a basic, any kind of basic thing for just us as a city. $90,000 is the city attorney's, budget, and then our IT services are $85,420.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, yeah, you can see those broken down on page 1. I'm not sure if it doesn't break it all the way down. Well, shit.
Moving
That's-
on to the police. We budgeted 10% increase on the insurance, which we feel that's probably gonna happen.
I think after some discussions with their staff, yes. And $15,000 increase in the interlocal agreement includes a potential pay raise to the officers.
Didn't they wanna get new cameras? Is that budgeted?
Yes, look at officers' equipment, 34,900 is, it says new radios, but it should say new body cam.
Wait, are you sure we didn't do it?
I don't see that in here. Oh, wait, I see it. It's under capital outlay, officers' equipment. Then we have a deduct of $64,860 for police cars. So why did we take that off?
Yes, that was, in '22, we did not buy cars, or we tried, but we never could get cars.
We never got them.
So in '23, we actually purchased 4 cars. And so this, going back to '24, we're going back down to the 2 cars, to keep the fleet, updated. And unfortunately, it's increased because that's the expectation is it's gonna be about $50,000 a car next year
For the
with-
2 new cars?
for 2 new cars and all the equipment in it.
Was that all the police needed, was the updated cameras? That's all I see added here.
Yeah. At this time, that's all they've asked for, so.
That's all you've asked for? Okay. Moving on to the building department. professional fees consulting, a deduct of 80,000.
Yes, that's actually where the zone code rewriting was.
Where the what
The
was?
zone code rewrite, that was the $75,000 that we're doing this year.
Oh, okay,
So
so
we took
what was
that
that before with the 112?
Yeah, that,
You're just gonna have to look that one up
yeah,
and
we'll have
let
to
me
look that
know.
up and tell you exactly what, but it was just for, just general. Yeah. Right. Yeah, we'll let you know.
So I assume the minus 10,000 on engineering, it's got subdivision review and general review. We've pretty much reviewed all the plans that we had on new developments. Is that why we see a deduct?
Yes, we're, just a general review of, I think it's 10,000 for two different engineers, well, for one engineer and the architectural firm to review any new subdivision or building plans, commercial building.
And with the new commercial district project going underway and coming on, do we feel we're gonna get an increase in new businesses? I just wanna make sure, because I see a deduct.
We certainly hope so.
We're hoping that you need
I
20,000 added to that.
Yeah, I don't believe it's gonna happen in '24, because I don't think the road's gonna be built by then, unfortunately. But definitely by the '25 fiscal year, that will probably be something we'll have to look at increasing.
Okay. And I don't have the one with the increase in the salary, so mine just has 11,543, but you added 47,000 for the 2% increase. Under Public Works, there's a deduct of $45,622, and over to the side it says Gator, mini excavator, trailer, and tractor. $105,000. So we're budgeting for capital improvements for a Gator, a mini excavator, trailer, and a tractor.
Yes, that is what the Public Works Director asked for, is the things he needed for next year. Last year,
It was the big dump.
it was the big dump truck?
Yeah, the new dump truck that we
Mhm.
still haven't received.
Yeah.
So under capital outlay paving, you've got 100,000 for paving under that part. That's just for patching and repairs, and,
For paving, it's 300,000.
300, you added another 100.
That's correct.
This is not the paving project where you took 200 from the budget out of the 800 left for this fiscal year. You were taking 200 and putting it in to make 400 for a paving project, or is this where the 200 went in?
This would be where the 200 will go in, and it'll become 500 total for next year. But we haven't actually started a Phase 5 paving.
So the 200 will be added to the
That's
300.
correct. Which hopefully will be enough to do a few streets in Diamond Head.
And 500's a good bet. We were generally running, 475 on our phases, and
That's
it was
correct.
working beautiful.
John, I have a question about,
Mhm.
I don't know if this comes under paving or what, but we talked about possibly the addition of speed tables and things. Did y'all budget for a certain number of those?
That would be the 100,000 under streets
It's
and drainage.
included?
It would be things
It's
that we
part of that?
do to, yeah.
Okay, just
To work
checking.
on those things.
Under professional fees, engineering, a deduct of 415,965. It says city engineer, paving, and drainage. We
Uh,
amend it to be 535,565 for this budget. Then we have a deduct of 415.
Right, that is for the canal dredging. That number will go back up because, of course, not all that engineering costs have come out yet, but that is mostly for the 360,000. That's a rough number for the canal dredging added on to that.
So why do we deduct it? I guess I'm still confused.
The original FY23 budget was only 106,000, and so we had to increase that budget to include that canal dredging
Mhm.
engineering cost, and so we're going back down to the 120,000.
All right, I do remember that being added. Okay. And everything stayed the same in economic development?
Uh,
Just 100
Yes.
added to cruising the coast and 400 to Mardi Gras?
Yeah, just kind of, I think, kind of move numbers around.
Under debt, we've got the equipment payment, the copier lease, the vehicle equipment, the city hall payment. Where is the bond payment, our new bond paving payment?
That comes out of a completely different fund, so that's not part of our general fund.
Okay, so
budget.
it's coming out of, we're using the internet sales tax to
That's
pay it. So where is that shown on these tabs?
It would not be. This is just general funds.
Okay,
So those are all kind of, those funds are more of just kind of money come in, money go back out, so.
Do we-
But we will show those to you at the, you know, at the general budget hearing.
okay, so do we feel that the internet sales tax payment will be ample to pay the new paving bond payment, principal and interest?
Yes, yes.
Any left over?
I think so, but I will have to, you know, Troy, kind of, put those out to, you know, the way he felt that was best, but we can look and see what's left over. What we had been using that money for was for the paving, additional paving, so if there's anything left over, we could add that to, any paving project we do, so we may have 550,000, something
Well,
like that.
we're looking at our growth, because we get that, we should be getting our next one in July.
Right.
Beginning of
Mhm.
January and July. So last year, we only got, two small payments of the inception, and this year they got bigger, so we're hoping by next year, yeah. We can't get a grasp on the growth just
Right.
yet.
And this will
Is
be.
there any way, being this as a bond payment, and we have, when we did the bond, we allocated the internet sales tax to pay the bond.
Mhm.
Can we set up like a cush fund for that money to stay in there in the event we run short one year and the bond and principal's X? Is that legal? Can we
It
look
does
at
stay in,
that?
it stays in that fund, so yes, it
Okay.
could just stay there instead of using it to,
Do pavement?
do
Just
paving.
leave it there
Just
and
leave
let it?
yes, yes.
Okay, that sounds like a very good option.
All right.
Well, I mean, I would just think we would pay that toward the principal. I mean, I thought that all of that money was allocated for
Yeah,
all
it's,
of the internet sales tax money
Right.
was allocated and protected for the bond itself.
okay. Yeah, it's a structured payment plan. I don't know that we can pay early, but I can certainly ask the attorney if that's an option, to pay off early on the principal. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. It all varies on how the bonds were sent out.
I think they won't let you for 10 years. There was something on there. Mhm.
Mm.
But that's a very good point. We need to do, it needs to stay with the bond and the principal payments. In the event next year something happens with internet sales and people are shopping more at stores and it's reduced, then we have money to pay that payment. Okay,
Yes,
I went through all my questions.
Because the way it is structured, our payments do
Mhm.
increase every year. Our lowest payment is this year. And then it goes higher and higher as we go.
Usually goes the other way, John.
It should, but that's not the way that's not the way they structure
That's
these
very
bonds.
depressing. Thank you. Okay. Any
But-
questions to my right?
But this
Okay.
actually is our last year to get the additional 25% that they have been holding back. It started out, you only got 12.5 or something, then 25, and so this is our last increase. So we should see our most significant increase this year, and then it sort of levels off.
I have one more question. The total interfund transfers, you've got 600,000, a difference of 200 additional.
Yes. The 400,000 is for our Gulf Coast Restoration Fund match, and then 200,000 is for MDOT match for West Aloha.
Okay. And then a question on City Hall. That was a $1 million bond, very small, to get this facility. It was a very good purchase. Where are we in paying that off? We
I
pay,
think it's paid at 15.
is it 15? Okay.
I have it written right out to the side. on
You did,
there.
no.
It's in the code what payment it is, but I'm gonna say it's payment 15 out of, yeah, we have like 7 years. I think it's 20 years. I can go get that if you'd like.
No, that's fine.
it's-
I know
We're
it's
getting
getting
there.
close to maturity, getting to the end.
It is.
7 years is like no time.
Any other questions from anyone else? What's on the schedule?
What's our schedule
Yeah, what's on
for
the
our
schedule?
next?
Do we do a public hearing?
Oh.
I just
Okay,
need those.
So our next one on July 18th, y'all will accept the form of the budget. We don't, need another meeting unless y'all want one. We would do that next week, around July 12th. Because we are planning on July 18th to present the, final proposed budget to you all with, sample publications that will go in the paper regarding the hearing.
And that was July 18th?
At the July 18th meeting.
The next,
So the first advertisement will, go in the paper for the public hearing on August 3rd and again on August 10th. The notice to the public that we'll have our public hearing on August 15th.
When are we anticipating getting the rest of the information from the tax assessor?
We typically get that, somewhere second, third week of, July to August, but he's pretty confident in what he's doing.
Because public utilities, I don't believe, are due to
Yeah.
them until
August.
mid-August. So, not that that usually alters it that much, but they still have no final number.
And we have to have our budget adopted by the 15th, so we're shooting for September 5th, so that we don't have an issue
Mhm.
canceling a meeting. We'll have some time if we have to come back and approve it at a later date. But that's always been our goal, to approve it at the first meeting in September.
No.
So we don't have to have a special.
Please
meeting.
not.
Okay. Just those few things I had, if y'all could just shoot me an email on them so that I understand what they are.
We'll do that.
So we had, let me get this straight, we had 600 left in the budget. We had 800, but you had to move 200,000 over. From the FY '23 budget, you moved 200 over to fund the GRPC grant. Which one was it?
Yes, that is correct.
Gulf Coast Restoration.
Gulf Coast Restoration. And then we had, so that made us have 600,000 left in the FY '23. And then we're gonna move 200 into the asphalt paving, bringing that total to 500,000, which is Phase 5 paving. That's a big project. That's right where we've been. Which will leave us about 400. Okay. Great job. This is good.
I don't know.
Any more questions? Okay. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
Move.
Motion made by Councilman Clark. Could I get a second? Councilman Finley? All in favor? Aye. We will be starting at 6 o'clock.